To be fair. And we are live with Brian and Brad. Hello. How goes the day, my friend? I think I might have to rename the cast to the Meaty Meta Mojo Recap. Why is Brian muted when I can hear him all day? Let's find that out. Let's hold on. I will talk because that's what I do. So don't worry. I've got it. Properties. Oh, it's because I have changed my output. All right. Talk it all, Brian. Do stuff and things.
So it was a good weekend for me. I spent 14 hours in my game room reorganizing, cleaning out, going, hey, what's in this box, to find stuff that I bought like 20 years ago that I was like, oh, yeah, might want to get around to putting that together. But it was good fun.
All of the things, some of the stuff. You know what? I invited the Kalile to show up today, and they did not. So it's sadness. We were going to have one of the Kalile, because now we're going to have the Kalile together in one house now. So I just assume that anytime we jump on a stream with them, that they're going to just sit really close to each other, and or one on top of the other on his lap. These two nerds. So I like to keep Brian muted until he proves to me that he's going to say something awesome, and then I take him out. Hunter,
I legitimately spent most of today, like, between at work, because we're in back to school season. Whenever I had a few minutes, I was reading the Imperial Agents book, trying to wrap my head around some of the little tricks they have, and having a good time. So that was my awesomeness today.
Nice. Hunter, we will gladly have you on one of the shows. I didn't even know you owned a camera. I thought you were just one of those dudes that lurks on his phone while he's looking up weird types of dark web stuff. Well, thanks for the $5 super chat. How about you ask me more than 6 minutes before you need me? Stinking boomers and their lack of respect for others' time. I mean, yeah. I mean, what? I don't understand. You say it like it's a bad thing. I don't really know where you're going with this. So, it's a flip phone. Nice. But we got multiple lists. We've got things that happened over the weekend. We should look at lists first, or you want to look at the meta itself first?
I think we should look at the meta itself first and discuss, the meta a little bit, and then we'll go into some of the good fun lists that were out there this weekend.
Fine. If you're gonna make sense, I guess we can do things like that. But I'm not making this something we do all the time, because making sense seems dumb.
So, making sense seems like it wouldn't be us.
Yeah. Bam! The meta, the mojo, the madness. Thousand Suns. Remember when everybody said they were dead? And this guy with two thumbs said, you guys are fools. It's going to be fine. Yeah, they're still doing really well. Turns out giving people 4,000 dev wounds sucks. So.
Well, I think it's the mixture of the 4,000 dev wounds combined with the fact that they have all those flamers that are just terrifying to get to them in close combat aids in that a whole lot.
All of the yes. We had a decent amount of games played with them too. Thousand Suns showed up. We had a lot of players. We had 183 games played, so they're playing in some of the bigger tournaments. 58% win ratio, man. That is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they will continue to be a good army for quite a while.
So, number 2, League of Votann. As usual, rolling the dice to see whether they're going to put up a 55 or 60% win ratio or a 45 or 48% win ratio. Votann's really good. I don't know what's up with their win rate because they just ride the roller coaster week to week. They're pretty consistent with their overall number, but man, they have some crazy good weeks and some crazy terrible weeks. Um, is that more of a terrain thing? That's kind of where my head goes when I think about them. Is that, or are they
So
just go ahead?
I don't think it's just a terrain thing. I think it's mission, deployment type, and matchups at the same time. Because that's the nice part about kind of the rock paper scissors meta we're in, where it's really balanced. But there are some times where you're like, oh, that's my counter, especially with that and that. This is going to be a hard uphill battle. And sometimes it's like, oh, well, that's a bad matchup, except in this mission. In this mission, I'm pretty favored. So I think that's what it breaks down to.
It's it's crazy for me. And just like I said, that army, I think I like it a lot. But as far as its overall placement, it's been pretty crazy on that.
Yeah.
True on that. Melee is a little bit on downward trend with mid-range shooting doing well. I agree on that. Obviously, the stats say that. Also, GSC showed up there. Is this another army? Is this two armies in an overcoat trying to sneak into the movies? GSC 53%.
Look
What?
at the number of players.
I mean, it wasn't one. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There was 9 players.
I mean, that's in the grand scheme of things, when you have 700 plus players, that's a very small percentage.
Sure, but I mean, usually what I see is GSC did good because, what's his face in Canada just kicked somebody's ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or
So-
Robin Roberts did really
Yeah,
well with them.
exactly. Robin does well. Always does well with them. You know what I mean? So you got some specialists on this. Um, they still need some help, but they still have a shit ton of models. So you're going to get some wins by that alone. To be honest with you, I mean,
They have the ability to cause bad matchups for certain armies that are good in the meta right now.
true story, because they can just take the objective from you. So it's
Yep.
just a big deal. Exactly, Joe. All the GSC players showed up. uh, so your boys showed up. Tyranids, rocking
They're-
and or rolling.
They're still a solidly good army. The buff to Synapse helped him out immensely. The thing that I like is you're seeing a variety of builds doing well. It's not just one or two. So it's good to see.
I like the fact that you saw so many different detachments rocking it out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I like this quite a bit. I'm still a big fan of the invasion fleet because I really like having those super versatile armies. But Vanguard's been throwing out there, I mean, everything. I still love the fact that Crusher Stampede basically got Necromancer rezzed from the grave because that thing was dead.
I mean,
until
the
I gave it
ability
bust.
to move through walls is, kind of key.
So
Just
then
saying.
then we got Death Guard coming in. Death Guard, man, I mean, both of us have been saying this for a while. Death Guard is a very good army. Is it a groundbreaking army? Nope. Is it just an army that's going to do pretty well? Does it have a ceiling? Probably, but if it plays a bunch of close combat armies, for instance, it will beat the shit out of them. -2 to hit is devastating for a close combat army. Also, all the fights first. You know what I mean? -2 to hit and blade spawn is a pretty big uphill battle for a lot of hand-to-hand armies that they can't overcome. Death Guard's amazing. Again, another nasty army in teams too.
Yeah, they're a nasty army in teams. They show up, they represent. If you don't understand 100% what they do, you can get caught off guard. They're a good, solid, durable army. They're gonna X and 1 a lot. They're gonna sneak wins here and there. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. So they're gonna do Death Guard stuff. I mean, it's a very nasty army. Really depends on their matches again because of the fact they've got a decent bad match. It depends on obviously same thing we talked about when you're talking about the Votan. You give them too many open boards, where mobile armies can just shoot them. They're gonna have a tough time. You give them somewhere to hide, and or you put them against melee centric armies, they're gonna crush.
Yep.
Now we got Sisters doing sister stuff. Not a surprise. Sisters are just a good army. Sisters are probably the best army, to be honest with you. As far as just overall.
They may be the overall best singles army right now, just because, like we proved with Eldar at the beginning of the edition, dice manipulation where you don't have to roll, or you can do it after you roll, is ridiculously good. And that's just something that's going to either need to be fixed or addressed in some way, shape, or form.
It's crazy because they can make so many sixes with Catherine,
Yeah.
for instance. It's just that's just a big deal. It's another thing though that I like. I like seeing the fact that we were looking at a little bit of everything, because we saw Flame come out. We've seen more and more people playing Hallowed Martyrs, and we've seen Hallowed Martyrs taking tournaments. You know what I mean? So the index detachment's still super strong, wildly good strats.
The Army of Faith is the one that I'm the most terrified of.
When that gets, I really do feel that when it gets its final form, Army of Faith is going to be disgusting. It already is doing well, obviously, but man, whew, that's got potential when people figure out the secret sauce. There's a lot of moving parts in Sisters. So, like, I do like the fact that when you see a Sisters army, it's going to have a couple things that are commonplace, but there's a lot of Sisters army that are wildly different than each other that are doing very, very well. And I think that shows that how deep the book is when you can see win rates, like really high win rates with wildly different armies within the same book. So that I think that's really good. So as far as parity within the book, I think there's a lot of it.
It's a definitely a well designed book. I think that Miracle Dice are still a little too powerful, but we'll see as it progresses.
I'm just talking internal balance inside itself.
Oh yeah, inside itself, yeah.
Yeah. Drakari, you know what? I finally like the fact that you don't even see even the one guy that tried to make real Space Raiders work, and they finally just went, Sky Splitter's the only detachment that actually does anything. And it does a lot. Fucking Dark Eldar has shenanigans for days, and they also have trash for days. This was an army that's so near and dear to my heart. This might be what I close out the year with, by the way. I was talking to Crawley about that, of just what the hell do I want to play moving forward. And this might be it. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to probably play some regular Eldar at Champs Cup, but the rest of the year I might pull out the Drakari. So there's not another army that can put more trash and be this fast on the board. And you also just throw down, I don't know, a casual 20-some Darkland shots amongst that. You're like, hey, here's all my junk, and here's a bunch of big guns that pop in and out. So, I'm loving it. World Leaders did well. World Leaders won some tournaments this weekend. World Leaders are going to continue to be exactly what World Leaders are. World Leaders have a couple hard counters, be it mission matchup and deployment. If they have to go really far and you've got a bunch of shit to put in front of them, they have a tough day. However, if you don't have that perfect combination, man, those guys can pick you up and soccer toss your army. So
and Astra Militarum had, for them, an absolutely amazing weekend. They had a hellacious showing, also won 2 events, and we're definitely going to talk about one of those lists.
Yep. They also had a shit ton of games played with them. It's still just really popular out there.
A ton of people. It's a good army. I mean, I look back at Salt City at the guard armies that all did very well. There was a lot of 5 and 2s, and make or break here or there. A couple of the games where the 5 and 2s were like, oh yeah, I lost by 2. I lost by 3. And I'm like, yeah, that guy could have been 6-1, 7-0 pretty easily.
Black Templars, man, look, we're taking a little break because people were still trying to bring the vehicle-oriented list, and then people went, I own a shit ton of Crusaders, I'll just throw them on the board. Yep. That army just wins. It's a pain in the ass.
It's 20 dudes with Marine bodies, tough to chew through.
100% on that KR. I've been saying that forever, on the fact that the difference between the American win percentage and the Euro win percentage when it came to guard was just crazy different, So
a lot of that's terrain based, I think.
True.
WTC terrain and UKTC terrain versus the GW terrain is a vast difference.
I mean, UKTC, especially this year's version of UKTC terrain, is excuse me, wildly different. They have some really wildly open boards.
Yep.
So we got Krons doing Kron stuff. Krons are probably where they should be right now. I don't want them to be touched at all anymore, to be honest with you.
Yep.
They might have been touched just a smidge, but they've been winning at 50% and still just winning tournaments. You know what I mean? So, that Hypercrypt, any of the armies that have uppy downy are just good. You know what I mean? You have to make an army bad to not be good if you've got the uppy downy mechanic. It's just fucking amazing.
Yep.
So they're gonna do stuff. Space Wolves doing Space Wolf stuff. They still live and die on Thunder Wolves. Yeah, I mean, so I don't think that's going to change for a while. So we will see, unless Marines themselves get changed.
Considering they announced today, for those of you who didn't see it, Nova is going to be where they release all the roadmaps. So we're going to find out what's coming next for them. I'm going to assume Space Wolves is somewhere in that list.
I'm excited to see what the new. I'm actually surprised that we didn't get it earlier, but I want to see our new roadmap.
They just finished out their last roadmap, so it's time to unveil the next one.
Yeah, they usually just kind of, at least show you, you know what I mean, what's going on that. Yeah. Dark Angels getting a ton of stuff done with the new versions of Deathwing Knights, the Deathwing Terminators, Deathwing Knights is really holding this up. They didn't give them a ton of changes, man. That's the biggest thing that I say all the time is if you make changes, you can make frequent changes. You have to make them small. I mean, this army went from just not being played and getting crushed to being a dedicated defender at the World Championships, for instance. You know what I mean? Doing super well. And they didn't get a ton of changes. They got some sprinkling changes, and it changed how the army was able to be played. I like seeing that a lot. You know what I mean? We've seen it a couple times now. It took Tyranids a lot longer for it though, but like you sprinkle those changes on, either up or down. But if you light touch something, you can keep it relevant and you can keep it basically not broken or lower the brokenness, you know what I mean? But without just making it unplayable. The worst is when something's OP and then they hit it so hard that you just can't even use it. You know what I mean? I'd rather see them, nerf something not enough and then nerf it again quickly. Yeah, people might bitch a little bit on that, but like it lets the people playing those armies like make them relevant for longer. It doesn't have to be OP. It just has to be playable, man. We've seen too many times with Smash, nerfs. So I really like that. I like the fact that like I said again, they didn't give him that much, and the army's now doing stuff. So I'm saying.
Well, it's just like the next army on the list, Chaos Demons, which they just gave a little bit, and that little sprinkle they gave them really helped increase their win percentage and has helped them do a lot better.
100% on that. Demons doing demon stuff. Demons are going to continue to be right here because I think that demons really play a crazy matchup dependent because they also live in 4-up life. You know what I mean? That's just a thing. You're gonna, especially if you're playing big guys, you're gonna have those games where you're invincible, and you're gonna have those games where, oh, I had a bad turn of 4-ups and I just peeled three or four big guys. So that's always going to keep the win rate around there. Grey Knights, I'm still very surprised that Grey Knights isn't just winning consistently more than they are. They're not doing bad at all. They've been 50% for a while.
They have some bad matchups, and I think there's a lot of variance in the builds you can play based upon the terrain. Like certain builds are better in different terrain types, as we always talk about. The difference between the varied terrains, GW, UKTC, WTC, and I'm sure there's others that I'm forgetting. You can't just bring the same army to each one of those. You
100%. You have to change it. I always say that. Go ahead.
This is one of the times where I go, if you go, oh, I really like that Grey Knight build, and it's a European event and they use WTC scoring, and you bring it to a GW open style event and you're like, oh, I don't understand why it didn't do well. I was playing it the right way, but it's like different terrain, different layout, different scoring.
Yeah, I agree.
Different matrices. Yep.
It's just anybody with uppy downy is going to have chances. You know what I mean? Because you put pressure on your opponent the entire time. I do think that people are a lot of times very, very aggressive with the uppy downy armies when they don't need to, because you can win this game late. I mean,
Yep.
especially if you're going second. Crazy the amount of points you can put up on somebody. So um, I think they're fine on that. Death Watch doesn't exist. I refuse to look at that.
Yeah, it's just
Tau doing Tau stuff. I am still um, surprised at Tau just not being a little bit higher up, because I do think that they have like crazy firepower and stuff with all of their detachments. To be honest with you. Oh, Loud coming in $5 super chat. When is Brad going to talk about how for the last several weeks Ratcon has more podiums X and ones than all other Tau detachments combined? Mainly because I like poking at you with that. Lyle's wildly excited about a Ratcon army he made, and I've just not let him talk about it or put it on the table with me because we're practicing other stuff. And he's like, I will talk about this.
I mean, to be honest with you, Lyle, I like the idea of the retaliation cadre. I actually got my Tau army out of its storage cases this week to look at what I had, and I'm like, oh, I didn't magnetize arms. I have a lot of building to do. a lot of arms to be ripped off and guns put back on in places.
I mean,
Yeah, I like the idea of it.
Crisis suits are boss mode. I've ran them before. They're super fun. They've got, anytime you can fire and fade with an army, it's going to be pretty awesome. And it's not like they're doing a 6-inch fire and fade. They're hauling ass. So, Imperial Knights doing Imperial Knight stuff. Imperial Knights is just one of those other armies that has been performing better because of the fact that they just let them go through walls without strats or anything else, just walk through with the big guys. And that did help Imperial Knights quite a bit. But they still have match problems, you know what I mean? And we'll see with Blood Angels being different, we'll see also where they land. But Blood Angels went way down too. I'm going to put Blood Angels and Custodes both together because they had about the same win rate. I am really surprised that Blood Angels only at 45 this week. They didn't have a huge amount of games played, but they had a lot of games played. You know what I mean?
They had a lot of games played. They dropped off a little bit. I mean, that happens. Also, people might start being familiar with the tactics of the army you played at Salt City, right? People are starting to learn how to play against that army.
Yeah.
You might have to change up your tactics a little bit. Just saying.
Hey man, I played them for that tournament and then I left them. I dumped them in Crawley's lap and moved on with my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Space Marines drop, which the Chaos Cult build seems to be the strongest build out of that book. I just feel like the reason they're down where they are is they got hit a little too hard on the nerfs. I think they need to sprinkle a couple of those nerfs back and they'll be up in the 50% without any problem.
Yeah, people are trying to make Raiders and stuff work, with it. My poor orcs, man, getting beat up on. I still love Warhorde quite a bit. But it is tougher to play. I have to give props on that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't want to get stuff thrown at me. They're like, we're in a bad spot. Stop saying that's fine. I don't want to get hit by tomatoes when I go to tournaments.
Yeah, so, I think orcs got hit. That was one of the overstretched reactions of hitting them with nerfs. I think they hit a few of them just a tad bit too hard. I think they need to roll back some of the rules changes they made for them. I also think they need to change the points on a couple things that are just currently too high. Because I think Dread Mob would do better if they lowered the points on some of the stuff that works in that army. The same thing with Cult of Speed.
Agreed. I think a couple of things are just you get a little bit, you don't get enough just volume of stuff on the board for both of those armies to be consistently winning. They have some good rules though. You know what I mean? I actually think Cult of Speed rules are fantastic. It's just they need more stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that like one of the best things in that should be one of the best things in army is the copters, which with the way fly works in this edition, they're really pointless.
Yes, it's annoying. I mean, things that are mounted. I actually thought about this the other day. We were talking about the fly keyword, and one of the things that I said, and I'll just throw it out to everybody. If they don't want big vehicles, jumping over things like they used to, fine. But things like jet bikes and custodes bikes and coptas and shit like that, those should still just kind of work, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like thematically, that's how they play. You know what I mean? They're zooming over shit. And it just feels dumb that they have to drive around something just like a rhino
I
does.
very much like the Crusher Stampede thing, where if you move through a wall, right, you take a battle shock test. If you fail, you take mortals, or whatever. I
Any,
think
any of those
something to that.
things, yeah,
There should
because
be something like that, like, hey, you hit the wall.
right, yeah, exactly. You're
Yeah.
you're zooming through the city ruin, and Ed got crushed because he's a shitty driver.
Yeah.
Something,
Something
100%,
dangerous
man.
terrain check style of thing.
Yeah, it's
Harkening
just
back
like
to older days, but yeah.
Eldar jet bikes, Dark Eldar Custodes, you know what I mean? And Coptas. It just feels crazy that they have the exact same maneuverability as this clunky tank. You know what I mean? They're like, don't I fly? Yeah, but not like good fly. Like what?
Yeah.
So it just
And
ugh.
so as we move on to like Space Marines, again, this is they got over nerfed. I think they need to fix that. It's one of those things of fix the points back. I think that fixes most of their problems. I think they just got over points increased.
Look at my boys Eldari sitting at a crisp 41%.
I don't think anyone feels bad for them in any way, shape, or form. But
No, no one's pouring
100%
anything out.
think they need to look at that, and as they're designing their book, because I expect that to be one of the last books of the edition, they need to look at that book and go, okay, what do we want this book to do? How do we want builds to work? I
can't wait for the 3 months of Eldar having the most busted bananas book ever. I don't even know if it'll make it 3 months. It'll make it 2 months. They'll get a nerf, it won't do anything, and then they'll get a death nerf. So, nerf Eldar again. Oh, fuck. AdMech not performing this week. They took a big dive from last week, but also AdMech didn't need the damn point increases. You give them the new rules and keep their points the same. Like this is an easy fix. Just take those point increases that you gave them for goddamn no reason. You know what I mean? The army.
If they wanted to point increase them, they could have cut those in half, the increases they gave them, and it would have been fine.
I just don't even think they need those. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just they were doing bad. They gave them some buffs, and then they took models away. You know what I mean? Because you didn't have as many things on the board because of the price increases. So, I'm whatever it is. You know what I mean? Chaos Knights, I'm kind of dwelling in the gutter, man. So
I think this is a little bit of an anomaly this week. We'll see them pick back up. I know they're not as good as Imperial Knights. I think Imperial Knights are just a little bit better. But they should be in the 45 range, 42 to 45 where they're going to sit. I don't think they're going to go any higher than that right now. Their mechanic just isn't quite good enough.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. You know what? You want to talk about a guard list?
I 100% want to talk about a guard list in one of the events that I wanted to go to, but unfortunately they sold out way faster than I could have got there.
I'm going to adjust what Corey has in this because I'm very passionate about this. I keep saying this over and over and over and over, goddamn again. And Corey goes, good luck reducing Marine points without making Blood Angels and Dark Angels busted. They have to put the damn points in the books themselves. That's how you get cool mechanics. That's how you get cool Dark Angels mechanics, cool Blood Angels mechanics.
They just did it with Imperial Agents where they were like, hey, in a pure Imperial Agents books, it's this much. In anything else, it's this.
Yes. That's how you get, flavorful, cool armies. You know what I mean? Yep. But as long as you tie that to the main book, one book's going to either be busted, one army's going to be busted and the other, is okay. Or what usually happens is one army gets toned down and the other just sucks, which is what we're seeing now. Yeah, I mean, just fucking break the chain. You know what I mean? Stop having that, I'm having to walk that giant ass book be the main thing. Give them their own points, period. Here's your book. We did this for so many editions, dude. Where's my points? I don't care if there's crossover units. You know what I mean? If you had a Blood Angels book or you had an Eldar book or whatever, those were your points. I don't care what the other book says. It can be the same unit. Don't give a shit. We know that you can abuse this more than the other people can, so it costs more. and or it costs less because you don't have access to XYZ. You know what I mean? Make the books it just drives me fucking crazy. So
Yep. All right. So as we move on, Capital City Bloodbath, run by Team Canada, absolutely fantastic guys. If you ever get up to one of their events, they do a great job. Chris Haynes and his crew are phenomenal people. Absolutely. And by the way, this list, there is a embedded YouTube video. So if you like copy and paste it and send it to people, there's music in there. So it's kind of fun.
that does crack me the hell up. Gaunt's Ghost taking up an entire page. God damn it. It just drives me crazy. Lord Solar. We got triple command squad. Tempestuous command squads. Well, then we've got one regular platoon command squad, Creed, solo infantry squad. I was surprised after we saw all those command squads that we didn't have any, you know what I mean? We just had like the one infantry squad to hang out.
You got to remember that the Scions are definitely other.
True. Yes, I know. But I was just like, I saw so many guys. I'm like, where are they? I love the fact that he went Chimera and double Torox Prime. I love the Torox Prime, by the way.
Agreed.
It's got so many shots. And it's actually got a tiny body that's easy to hide. Then we've got double Rough Riders. I'm going to send this over to Johnny. He hates these guys so much.
Oh, they're so good, though. They punch up so hard and trade so well.
He hates the idea of somebody riding a horse in the year 4000. Got an Earthshaker. We've got double Casterken, single Rogel Dorn, we have 2 solo Scout Sentinels, and then we've got triple Scions.
Yeah, I mean, so let's preface this. This was WTC tables, WTC terrain, WTC scoring. So that does have some preface on this.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the quote. Dude, this army has a little bit of everything, and I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, easy to hide, lots of trash, tons of deep strike shenanigans. You can recycle some stuff. You know, you can recycle one of the Scion squads once, or not Scions, the Karsakins once, which is really good. They have a ton of guns. They have deep strike. The Earthshaker carriage battery is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's got the single Rogel, the single Earthshaker. You know what I mean? Tons of striking units, trash enough to score, play the game. I just like this because it gives you an option to just win. You know what I mean? So, Well done, sir. Well done. Who is this again? It's John, right? Yep. John Russell. Well done.
Russell. Good player. Yep.
And then we go over to the Cardiff Carnage. We've got Ultramarine Ironstorm was number 1.
That was number 2.
Number 2, sorry.
Box 1.
Box 1, yeah.
I really like this Ultramarine list. It's a little different from a lot of the stuff we've seen lately. So you got Lieutenant with Combi Weapon, Tech Marine, one with Adept of Omesh and or the Omasiah, pardon me. And the other with Master of the War Machine. Don't ask for that name from no idea.
The 2 aura abilities, yep.
The 2 aura abilities. And of course you got a battle line unit, because apparently having one's always good. An Assault Intercessor unit, an Inceptor unit, triple Redemptor Dreadnought, and we got 2 Scout Squads, double Vindicator, and double Whirlwind.
This is kind of old school, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a very old school list, but I like that it's got that mid-range shooting that we've been talking about. It's really powerful with the Vindicators, and the fact that it's got a little bit with the Scouts, and the Redemptors are still good. Even though they've gotten hit with 8,000 point increases, they're still very solid.
Solid body, but man, 210 for a goddamn Dreadnought is it's a crime.
It probably, I would love it better at 180. I think that's about its right point cost based upon all of its abilities, but you know, that's thrown a lot of points back into an army too. So
it's just, when a Redemptor Dreadnought costs almost as much as a Repulsor Executioner, you know what I mean? It's just crazy.
Yeah. But you can hide them a little bit better. They can punch in combat. They've got some upsides.
Oh, it's a good model. It's just, I think that it's criminally overpriced. I just don't understand.
Well, I think the monoliths are or not the monoliths. The whirlwinds are criminally overpriced right now, but they're still good.
That anything with indirect is still suffering points increases that we got in every single data sheet for that. You know what I mean? They could have, again, did rules on it. Box throwing down Army of Faith. Dude, a good player, and Steven's one of them. Playing Sisters is just goddamn terrifying. They have so many bullshitty shenanigans that are outside the rules. It's crazy.
Well, and the Army of Faith is the one that, to me, is the most terrifying because of all the dice manipulation that they have, and this just throws it right up there, showing you how good it can be.
Well, the Blade of St. Eleanor is no joke, you know what I mean, by itself. So we've got double Canoness, one walking, one with a jump pack, Morven Fall, because yes, the Triumph, because I don't even know it. I think it just populates when you try to make it in the app. Single Immolator, single Rhino, double Castigator, a unit of Sacrosanct, a full unit of Castigator, unit of Dominions, single Exorcist, the unit of war suits for Morven Fall to go into, a Repentia squad, Seraphim and Seraphim, 2 5-mans, doing some shenanigans.
Yeah,
I am curious as how he's running the Repentia, because I like Repentia, but they got hit a little bit with their output. So
you got to assume that's probably in the Rhino.
Yeah, I'm like his actual play with it though. Yeah, I mean,
I would assume he's going to be. My guess is screening with the Rhino, screening with the Rhino, forcing people into that mid range, dumping out and assaulting.
Yeah, I mean he's got splits of Dominions for the Immolator, of course, and this army just has play, you know what I mean, and it's got a shit ton of guns, so he's got damage for days, so it can do shenanigans. And again, the Sisters is such a crazy list depending on whether the person's an expert with Sisters or not, you know what I mean, because on the surface you're just like, oh, these are stat lines are good but not broken, and then you do all the synergy with the units. I am not going to nowhere. I am doing some seminar Mojo, so Brad's got to make a buck, so I will miss Nova for the first time in forever. Actually, I thought about that. I've been to Nova a million times now. It's a good time. That was good.
I am unfortunately not making Nova either because I work in a place where back to school is a real thing.
Bringing it up.
There is one list I want to look at, Brad, that I don't think we have set up, but it was the Big Sky Open. If you've got that up,
I'll put that at the end. So tell me, because I've got the 4 more lists from the 2 more tournaments that I wanted to look at. I wanted to look at Ratcon and the Texas tournament. So let's go to Ratcon first. Also, he has one of the longest intros for an army ever. So I do like this army quite a bit. So it's Tyranid Invasion Fleet, Death Leaper, Hive Tyrant, Neuro Tyrant, Double Gargoyle, Triple Hormagaunts, 10, 10, 20. He's got the single YOLO Biovore, double Exocrine, a unit of Gene Stealers, double Lictor, double Maliceptor, and a big unit of Zoes for the Neuro Tyrant to go in. It's just, I like armies like this. This is, and I'm very biased on this because I like toolbox armies quite a bit. It's my style. So when I see one do well, that's just the way I like to play. But this has damage, it has scoring, it has move blocking, it has just shenanigans. You know what I mean? So
I like that it's very universal, and I like trash just like you like trash, not quite as extreme as you like it, but I really enjoy this list, and I still think the zoanthropes with the with the Neuro Tyrant's probably going to get met with something at some point. He's just super. That makes him that army super good, and it's very, very durable. And I
mean, having the ability to throw the 5 up in a pain is just a big deal, man. You know what I mean? This army did really well. I think it's going to continue to do really well. So I just love this a lot. Then we had Ben rocking out the Chaos Cultists. I mean, like the Chaos with a billion bodies. I mean, anytime you just take a horde, that's, you can, a lot of armies just cannot deal with a certain amount of bodies, period. They just don't have, they might have AP 1,000,000, strength 1,000,000, but if you're shooting AP 1,000,000, strength 1,000,000, and you only have a handful of them, and somebody puts a billion bodies on, especially when you're giving them invuln saves, because these three,
Especially the Trader Guardsman squads are a little surprising to people because they have a plasma gun, they have a flamer.
well, it's that and the fact that, you've got the triple cultists, but you've also got, you've got the Trader Guardsman squads and a shit ton of them, of course, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But you've also got triple accursed cultists with those dark communes, man. And
Oh, so brutal.
those things hit so hard. They're once a game explosion. Plus,
Yep.
a lot of bodies where you're getting an invuln and a feel no pain, it can just take so much more volume than you have. A lot of armies have to take care of them. And he's got a couple shooting units, with that double vindicator and a forge fiend, and then double nurglings to do some forward deploy shenanigans and screen stuff out. So I mean, this army just has enough bodies where if you don't have the ability to deal with it, and they can put a lot of points on the board quickly, they can just run out, jam on top of 3 objectives, and just go, I'm going to score 15s unless you do something about it. And even if you do something about it, it might be too late. Because if somebody drops an early 30, on turns 2 and 3, now they just have to nickel and dime a couple more points to max that out. And you might have not. They might have been denying your primary. So I want to do that, actually. 100% Eric on the color blindness cast. I do want to paint with that. So it's a big deal in this because the accursed cult, I don't know why people just were sleeping on it for a little while. When Chaos first came back out, no one was like really on it. And then
if you look at the forecasters, I'll call it, of 40K, the prognosticators, they were saying this was the worst detachment in that book. There are several of them that said it, and it's been now after the post nerfs, it's the most winning of all the detachments
by a mile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and it won prior to the nerfs as well. So I mean, it wasn't like this was a oh well, things got nerfed, we'll switch to this. This was good out the get go.
I mean, it's just having a zillion guys is just always going to be decent. Like I said, a zillion guys, and then you put an invuln on them. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of volume to kill these. Can you kill them? For sure you can. You know what I mean? It's just a ton of armies do not have the ability to do that. You know what I mean? Especially if this army doesn't. To play the game, a lot of times you can do a whole lot of goddamn nothing. You know what I mean?
And if you scroll up to the top of this list, right? For me.
Oh yeah. I love that.
I mean,
the comments.
Yeah, the comments that he put in there actually explain, like, this isn't the worst. It's actually very good.
I love it. It just, again, anytime you give a horde special rules, it's probably going to do okay. You know what I mean? It's just, again, by just being a horde, you will beat a couple armies. If you give them some actual rules, you're gonna beat some more armies. You know what I mean? So that's just gonna happen, man. I just like this anyways. If this wouldn't just murder shit my back, I played this before, versions of it. You know what I mean? With like Abaddon and Cultist Man and stuff like that. It just works. I mean, horde armies just exist. They work. They will continue to work. Dark communes plus accursed cultists by themselves are crazy, and then you just jam all of these Trader Guardsmen. You steal the objectives from people. It's nuts. You know what I mean? The fact that they have a billion battle line, there's just so much OC in this army. You could just murder this army. You're literally throwing Trader Guardsmen and regular cultists in a wood chipper. But if they keep denying your primary, you know what I mean? You're like, you don't get a sticker for killing enough, the most models. They're just like,
so
cool.
You have Texas up next, right?
Yep. And we're going with the Necron army first.
I really like this list because it's kind of memey, yet actually very good. And the name of it, March of the Vending Machines, is absolutely fantastic.
So I like this list quite a bit. Hypercrypt's always going to be good. You get a Chronomancer and a Plasmancer. You're slapping those in these 2 20-man bricks of warriors. You got 2 units of Death Marks. You've got a Reanimator, a unit of Spiders, double Doomsday Arc, and double Monolith, man. When I first read this list, I was like, oh man, some big blocks of warriors. Oh, Death Marks. I wonder what he's going to do with this. Oh, he took all of his points and went, screw you, double monolith, double doomsday arc. Whew.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot to deal with that's popping around the board.
I mean, the strats for them popping, the monolith pulling 20 warriors out, they get some serious juice, and they also get to ignore
and
the blockouts and stuff.
the
So,
Goss Reapers are pretty nasty.
yeah, especially again after they get pulled through a monolith.
Yep.
So, when you're like, hey man, how is my stat line? You're like, it could be a lot better. How about if I do this? So there's a big deal in that. Plus, he's got a bunch of like big bang. Doomsday Arcs don't fuck around. The Doomsday Cannon's legit. Also, the fact that it just can sit behind you always get to shoot with them. That's why I like it. I mean, I already get palpitations when I look at 200 points and 375 points, but in Hypercrypt, you get to shoot first because they can just pick them up, and those have to actually come in off the sides. You know what I mean? But still, you can pick your angle, get a shot. You're always guaranteed to shoot once, probably multiple times, because you can come out on a place that's going to give you a shot and give your opponent very little shots against you. And the Doomsday Arcs are durable as shit. You know what I mean? So it's not like an easy unit to kill. So that's a big deal. Army did goddamn well. And then we got Cam rocking out the Dark Angels. Gladius Strike Force. We got the Apothecary, Azrael, Judge Judy, double Impulsor. He's got double Assault Intercessors and Jump Back, double Deathwing Knights, a big Eradicator squad, an Inner Circle Companion squad for Azrael, two of them, sorry. And then a unit of Black Knights, a Repulsor, and double Scout. So he's got a little bit of everything in here.
Yeah.
Ability
It's a
to
very toolboxy list.
It's doing well, but man, I still think that these guys need to go down in points. I mean, this is so few things still in a list that's trying to have as much as humanly possible. You know what I mean? But it's a good list. It's strong. It again plays really well into it.
I like the missile launcher on the Impulsor.
Oh, just having more shots.
Yeah, over the durability of the invul save, I do like the missile array better.
Yeah, he's got trash to play the game, and he's got some big shots. The combo of the characters with the units that they go with, and then a couple transports to get people places, is legit. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see Riverwood Black Knights. I wish they were just slightly better. I like the model quite a bit. I just think it's cool. I like the idea of these guys, being the best bikers in the Imperium. Sorry, White Scars, they just are supposed to be. So, this is legit on this.
It's an interesting list. Not one that I would play, but I like the ideas of it.
All right, tell me what you want me to pull up. What's the tourney?
Hold on 1 second. I had it, and then my iPad decided to close every tab I had open.
Big Sky?
Was it the Big Sky? Yeah, the Big Sky Open.
Big Sky Open. Hit me. Who's this?
Where was that? It was an X in one list. Where was it? I like the Black Templar list by Tristan.
You want to see anybody else's from this?
Sure.
You know what? We're going to look at the orcs.
Yep.
Because he lost his first game and then he buried everyone after it. So I'll be walking in blind. So let's look at this Black Templars list. Tell me why. Read this list off to me. Tell me what's up.
All right. So as it's loading, Chaplain and Terminator armor, Helbrick, Judikar, Lieutenant with Volkite and Storm Shield, Lieutenant with Combi weapon, Intercessor Squad, Black Templar Impulsor Dose, Assault Intercessors with Jump Pack, Gladiator Lancer, Infiltrator, Primaris Sword Brethren, two of them, two Scout Squads, and a big giant Brick O Terminators. I like it because this bullies the middle. And I think it's one of those lists that if you don't have the right tools to deal with this, can be quite obnoxiously annoying. And it's got the lone op to go do stuff and, enough trash to be good.
I do. One of my favorite people in the game is Lieutenant with Combi Bolter. because there's 100 lieutenants, and this guy got every special rule in the game. How did he get them? By grabbing a combi weapon. You're like, okay. So this has Mojo. Sword Brother go in the impulsors. Lancers shoot downfield. He's got a little bit of trash to play the game. You know what I mean? Obviously a battle line unit to try to just stop nonsense from happening. So Tannhauser's Bones is also just one of the best enhancements in the entire game.
Oh, absolutely.
So minus 1 damage is just crazy.
I love that big brick of Terminators. I absolutely big fan of it.
So let's look at the Orc army that went X and 1. Boss Snickrod, hells yeah. Gazgal Thraka, popping people in the face. Triple War Boss, a unit of Beast Snagga Boys. 1 truck, 3 5-man units of Flash Kits. You had me at Flash Kits. A unit of Gretchen, Kill Rig, a little Mega Knob unit for Gaz to go with. And then we have triple knobs, 10-5-5 for the War Bosses to go with. A unit of Squighog Boys, 2 units, 3, I can't even talk.
3
units of Storm Boys. So we got some shenanigans. We got some things to hit. We got some stuff to play the game. It's legit Orcs. I like it a lot. Oh,
yeah,
God.
it's a war horde, lots of trash, lots of movement.
Hold on. Probability of $2 super chat. Not getting out of here without a Go Blue. Keeping the streak alive.
And by the way, Hunter's comment of grabs combi weapon. Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne. Absolutely.
It's just funny because it's just like every lieutenant's pretty much the same, and then the one guy grabs the most rando of weapons, the combi weapon, and just goes, I have all of the Matrix, like, downloaded all the info into him. I have every special rule in the game. I am 40k Jesus. So, going back to the meta itself. I want to see, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the roadmap is, because I want to guess at how the meta is going to change. Because the meta has, like, really evolved, like, a little bit. Excuse me. We have had a ton of parity since two battle data slates ago?
Yeah, the last data slate, I think, really balanced everything out very, very well. There's still a couple outliers on that, but for the most part, I think everything's pretty balanced with the last one.
But yeah, it's just I want to see what we're going to do, because I want to see if we're going to get some serious changes. I mean, we've had some armies kind of trail off, but as a whole, we've had just shit tons of different stuff winning tournaments, and I like that shit a lot.
Agreed.
So
KR, as you put that the Blood Angels Codex is looking bonkers, all depends on them points, baby. as we've said for a long time, until GW puts out that official points list, we have no idea. If Sanguinary Guard are 45 or 50 points apiece, yeah, they're okay. They're good. They're just really expensive. So we got to wait until those points come out.
I haven't even wanted to make opinion on Blood Angels until I see everything. It's just too hard if you don't see the points. Because
looking at the book at the current point costs, sure. Looking at the back of the book point costs, they look really good. KR, I agree with you. At 45 points, they'd still be better than Custode at 45. But, I'm hopeful that they're priced appropriately because they look very, very strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem is that you never know if the army is going to be amazing or if it's just going to be good. Because if you have good rules, yes, they can eventually make them work. You know what I mean? Yep. But if you stay wildly overcosted, it just won't matter. You know what I mean? So that's just a big deal in and of itself on that, because you could be like Tyranids. Tyranids took a while to get their points and rules right to make them a contender. They always had like fairly good stuff. They just needed a little bit more. And then other ones they got right faster.
Yeah. And there's still stuff. I mean, they're always going to have stuff that misses, right? Looking at the Psychophage, gorgeous model, yuck. Terrible rules. I don't know if there's a point cost you could put him at, maybe like 50 where he would start seeing play, but outside of that,
I,
50 would just be too cheap.
I'm not, that guy would have to be unbelievably cheap for me to take. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And then Anna, looking at Pariah Nexus, where do we like it so far? I think if every event keeps running table layout 1 and 2, because that's what I see at most of them, I don't see a whole lot of change for Pariah Nexus. It's going to get pretty boring. But if we start seeing some of the other table layouts, that's where things will get interesting.
they add a lot, man. Like just
Yeah,
because we played yours and we played 3. God, what was the thing? We played 1 and 3, but we played 1 on the last day. What was the
I think I
day
did
1?
4, 3, and
4,
7, something like that.
No, it was 4-3-1. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Like
we started with 4.
remember.
Playing on 4 was nice because you just never use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a lot different. The cover for the objectives was significantly different. There was a lot of more open shooting lanes. I think that if you see people playing on 3, 4, 6 more, you're going to see more variety in what people take. But if you tell me that I'm going to play on 1 and 2 the entire tournament, I'm just going to bring melee armies. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I think that's something we see. I like layout 5, but I don't like the missions they put with it from the GW's recommended missions thing. That's part of the issue with that. Because if you play what they recommended, oof, there are some firing lings on that board with Hammer and Anvil and Hammer and Anvil with
5 is trash. I'm sorry, but the boards are fine except for 5. 5 is a shit show.
Well, I think it's based upon the missions that they stuck with 5. If you tried some of the other missions, maybe it'd be better. I've played 3 games on 5 with their recommended missions and went, oh, yeah, no, I don't like this at all.
And on that, he goes, ugh. Anna says, do you find that Pariah Nexus exacerbated the difference between top and bottom of a turn? Yes, if you play on 1 and 2, for instance. You play on 1, 2, and 7, where you don't have to interact. If you go second's already ridiculously powerful. If you go second playing on one of those 3, you're guaranteed to be able to sit unless your opponent has tons of melee. If you're playing against a shooting army and you can just sit, that's very powerful going second. I do think that we have to change the scoring on second. I don't think that they should be able to score, especially now we have secret missions. I don't think that the second players should be able to score at the end of their turn for the primary. You could just play so non-interactive and then just score a shit ton of points on turn 5 and just make the game jacked.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn. I think Pariah Nexus is good. I think if you use some of the other, again, 1 and 2 to me they're good. They're solid. Melee armies are kind of favored in that. Going second seems very favored on those. The other board layouts seem a little more balanced. 5, I still think, is the worst out of the group.
So bad.
But Pariah Nexus on a whole isn't bad. We'll see as time progresses, but I think that because in the States we use a shit ton of the GW layouts, I want to say, I'm going to guess like 70 to 80% of the tournaments are the GW layouts. That changes things up. I think if we had more variety of layouts, I mean, now granted they've put out a bunch of layouts, but like everyone kind of likes to use the recommended, hey, we put this with this for a good reason. And it gets a little stale. I mixed things up at Salt City just to try things out, and I actually think it went very well. I didn't get any negative feedback on it.
It made a very different playing experience because you had to figure shit out a little bit. Because there was more shooting lines than there normally was, without being 5 broken. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there was a lot of things that you had to figure out. So, tell me about the art store, and then we're gonna Queens wave it out of here.
All right, the art store, www.theartstorecny.com for all your Warhammer needs. 15% off Games Workshop model kits every day. pop in and see us. We actually were lucky enough to be able to get a few more of the Blood Angels limited edition boxes today, so there's a few left on the web store.
Love it. Everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. We will be Thursday mojoed up. I might have a Wednesday, depending on a thing, but I will post that tomorrow morning when I put up the week. And I will start putting up our full streaming schedule starting this week, and I will put it out a week and a half in advance from now on. I'm going to be a big boy. And like and subscribe at the 60th minute we go into.
Hey, I put it in at the very beginning in the comment section.
So it's at 0 and 60. We like and subscribe. With that being said, thanks everybody for hanging out. And do the things, put a comment, do everything. Help us out. Thank you so much, everyone.